Carol, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new here. For today's video, I'm doing my August wrap-up. So basically I'll be talking about all the books that I read in this month, and I gotta say, I read a lot. Let's do this. The first book I read this month is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I do not have it physically here with me, but I read it on my Kindle and it was interesting. I do have a video dedicated to this book if you want some more in-depth thoughts and reviews. I'll link it in the cards and in the description box down below if you're interested. But basically this book is the well-known Twilight saga told through the POV of Edward instead of Bella. It was only the Twilight, not the full series, but it was interesting. It was a 600-page book. Yeah, I gave it a total of 3 stars. The second book I read this month is called Matilda by Roald Dahl? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I read this because I took part in a readathon on Instagram, and one of the challenges was to read a childhood favorite, and I decided to read this book, and it was the cutest, most heartwarming book ever. So if you do not know, this book is about this little girl named Matilda who's obsessed with reading like us bookworms, as you can tell by the cover, and she is very neglected by her parents, and so she discovers she has magical abilities and powers, and it's the cutest thing ever. I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 5 stars. It just delivered everything I wanted this book had, so I loved it. The third book I read this month is Divergent by Veronica Roth. I do also have a video dedicated to this. It's a reading vlog. I'll link it in the cards and in the description box down below as well. This book was amazing. I read this really huge book in one day, and I gave it a total of 4 stars. This book follows a girl named Tris, and she lives in a society where people are divided into factions, and you can only change your faction when you turn 16. And she did something like that, and she ended up in another faction, and she has to do some really weird stuff. I loved it. This book was so interesting. I did purchase the rest of the series. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail so I can do like a reading vlog for every single book of these, but I can tell this is going to become one of my favorite series of all time. So I really recommend it if you haven't checked it out already. This book is a naughty but a goodie. The next book I read this month is called The Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is that new? No. I read this book because I'm doing a video where I have to read certain books, and you'll see when that comes, but I enjoyed this, but I think this is a little hard to read and understand. So I was talking to Patri about this book. She's a booktuber here. Her channel's Living La Vida Patri. I'll link her channel down below. She's amazing. You should definitely check her out. But we were talking, and she absolutely loves it, and I can tell why. This book is so interesting. If you do not know, this book is about this character who goes traveling around, and he is learning about solitude, being happy with being yourself, and he has such beautiful quotes and ideas. I really enjoyed it. I did give it 3 stars though, because it was really hard for me to get through this. I think because he doesn't use punctuation like at all, so his sentences are huge. Here it starts, and then it goes all the way to here. And that's one sentence. So it was really hard to get through, but I did enjoy it, and I do recommend it if you like that sort of philosophical, more intense read. After reading the really intense and just hard book, I decided to go with something a little lighter, and I decided to read a poetry book. And I read Every Word You Cannot Say by Ian S. Thomas. If you like poetry, you need to pick this book up. This is like super easy and fast to read, but seems so simple, but it's so well done. I actually almost cried reading this. I felt so understood, and I felt like I connected to this man so much. I totally understand why this is loved, and oh my god, I give this 5 stars. So he basically talks about everything no one talks about. It's kind of weird, but he does. He talks about our feelings, things we're supposed to say, things we're not supposed to say, and I really enjoyed this, and I totally recommend it, because this book was golden. And now the last few books, I did a reading vlog for all of them in my summer wing reading vlog. I'll link it in the cards and in the description box, but I did go in depth on those videos, so I'll just go a little bit quicker with these ones, but the first book I read for summer reading was Psycho by Robert Bloch. This book inspired the well-known movie called Psycho, and this follows a man named Norman Bates who owns a hotel, and people that go to this hotel end up missing, and we just followed that, and there's a super huge shocking plot twist in the end. It's amazing. I totally recommend it. It like actually gave me goosebumps. It was so good, and 5-star read. If you're a thriller fan, this needs to be on your shelves. I can't stress it enough. The next book I read was a really disappointing read, and it was The Cheerleaders by Kiera Thomas. This book was nothing special. It was just another thriller with very boring tropes, and I don't feel like it reached its full potential. This book follows this girl who lost her sister who was a cheerleader with other cheerleaders, and she's trying to solve the murders. No, I did not enjoy this at all. I felt like it was really boring, nothing special. This was a 2-star read. And talking about disappointment, do I even need to talk about this again? Do we? No, we don't. There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. It was my 1-star read. The worst read of the month. It was bad. So this is a romance author who decided to write a thriller, and it did not work for her. This book was so repetitive, and it was just boring. The suspense wasn't suspenseful enough. The thriller part wasn't thrilling. It was bad. Just bad. If you want me to talk more about it, check out my video again. Just no, I don't want to even talk about this book anymore. The final read of the month that saved this whole summer reading and the month, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This book was a 5-star read. I totally recommend. This book follows this girl named Emma who, when she was little, went to this camp, and the people that were in her bedroom disappeared. 3 girls, and 15 years later, the girls have not been found yet, and she goes back to this camp as an older woman, trying to find out what happened to her friends. It's a really interesting read. Riley Sager needs the hype. He's so good, and I totally recommend you checking it out if you haven't already. That was my wrap up for August. I read a total of 9 books, which for me is insane, so I'm really glad that happened. Even though we had some disappointing reads, I feel like the ones that I enjoyed, I really did enjoy, so that's fun. Let me know down below what books you read this month, and if you've read any of these. Let me know how your reading month was. I love you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below to be part of this wonderful family. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!